afternoon everyone. Well, it's the 19th of April today. I do apologise for not letting you guys know when I got this about a week ago. It's been somewhat of a hectic time. This is the response that I got from the New Zealand Police Infringement Bureau in regards to asking about the 178 tickets that were issued on Muriwai Rd by a speed camera that was parked only 190 metres away from a speed reduction sign. Now, I've been going under the theory that, under the facts, that in the own speed camera operator's manual and also on the deployment registers that they fill out each day, on both places it states on the deployment register that you put a tick in saying that you are parked more than 250 metres away from a reduction sign, and on the manual it clearly states that you're not supposed to be parked any less than 250 away from a speed reduction sign. So obviously when I found that guy parked opposite 93 Muriwai Road, only 190 metres away, I'm going to consider all of those tickets void, and that be that. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to read you out the response from, what's her lovely name here? Aislinn Sederal is the lovely girl, lady, dare I be presumptuous. She hasn't actually specified her preferred pronoun, so we'll just go with girl. The girl that's responded back to me now, starts off with on the 11th of April 2025, and I got this via email on the 12th. Dear Mark, I refer to your Official Information Act 1982 OIA requested dated March 17th 2025. It's up on the channel if you guys want to go see it, for information regarding mobile camera placement. Really, you requested, according to deployment register dated 17th of the 1st 2025 for registration LRZ136, unmarked speed van, disc number blah blah blah, site number blah blah blah, and on this date and time, supplied to me on the 4th of March via an Official Information Act request IR 01252033. Please supply the status of all 178 ICNs, which stands for Infringement Charge Notice, issued regarding this deployment. For clarity, I do not wish to have any personal information of the individuals issued these infringements, and that's so they don't turn around and say, we can't comply, we can't give you personal information. I don't want any. Simply their current status, i.e. paid, unpaid, pending, hearing, or whatever is relevant. The start ICN is 662518461, ending in ICN 662518638. I note that Bhajinder Singh, QID BSJKG4, the operator, correctly noted that he is situated directly opposite 93 Muriwai Road. However, in accordance with your operator's manual for radar operations, page 13, and this deployment register, Mr. Singh has noted that he is parked more than 250 metres from a reducing speed sign. This is false, as he is only 190 metres away from the 80 to 50k reduction sign. Therefore, all 178 infringements are void. Please correct this. So that's what I requested. Here's her answer. Contrary to your above statement, well, that's just starting off well, isn't it? Which relies upon a manual for officer operated radar and laser devices. So she's saying it's for officers, not for the operators. Is there a difference? You're all doing the same fucking thing, gaining revenue. Police policy states that, so this is in contrary to their own operator's manual, and this is, well, anyway, I'll carry on. Police policy states that a speed camera vehicle must not be positioned within 200 metres of any point where the posted speed limit reduces. Really? So why does it say 250 on your own forms? Why does it say 250 in the manual? Moving on. Positioned within 200 metres of any point where the posted speed limit reduces. Okay, so he was 190, so he's still in breach of that then. Or within 100 metres if advance advisory signs are in place. Okay, couple of years back, just before the reduction sign, these two little signs popped up, you know, with the 50k area and 200 metres. So they're letting you know in 200 metres you're coming to a speed reduction sign. I was wondering, what's the fucking point? Obviously our eyes work, we can see the speed reduction sign, and you're supposed to have a saving grace. Now we find out what the reason for these advisory signs before the speed reduction happens are. Okay, so all within 100 metres of advisory signs are in place warning motorists of approaching speed limit reduction. This requirement does not apply in a school zone. Okay, for example, on Google Maps, an advisory sign is positioned 200 metres before the 50k speed limit. Therefore, the placement of the mobile safety camera meets police policy, but is it in line with legislation? And any issued notices remain valid. Thus, your request for the status of all notices issued on 4 March 2024. Now, I'm not asking for the ones that were issued on the 4th of March. I'm asking for the ones that were issued on the 17th of January. But I guess she's saying 4th of March because that's when they received the Official Information Act request. Okay? Is refused under Section 18H of the OIA as your request is considered frivolous. Well, I'm sorry, I consider your job at the New Zealand Police Infringement Bureau frivolous, vexatious and unimportant too. If we're going to start throwing frivolous words around, I mean, I don't want to be too frivolous with my speech. For additional reference, please find enclosed the relevant policy, again, policy, concerning mobile safety cameras. You know, this is the same policies where they sanction officers for doing the exact same thing that any normal person would be charged for assault for. Okay? Let's just remember, this is their policy. I think everybody out there, every private individual, needs to start making your own policies. Why not? If they've got a complaint about some criminal activity, just say, thanks very much for your opinion. We'll let the internal policy dictate what happens there. In fact, fuck, we might just sanction them. You know, they only get 2 hot dogs instead of 3. Because that's basically what the police do. When their officers assault people for exercising their rights in public, they assault them. But that's all right, they get sanctioned for it. God forbid they actually get a criminal record for doing what many others have been charged willful assault or common assault for. I trust that this information is satisfactory in answering your request. If you are not satisfied, you have the right to seek an investigation and review by the Ombudsman of this decision. Information about how to make the complaint is available at the Ombudsman Parliament NZ or free phone. Yep, right. What is the point? Go through one gatekeeper to another gatekeeper and expect something to change? I think I'll just stick with doing what I do because it tends to have an effect. Yours sincerely, Aislinn Setterell, Customer Services Manager, Police Infringement Bureau. Okay, so first of all, what customers do you have at the New Zealand Police Infringement Bureau? I didn't think you guys provided services to the public, so what customer services are you managing? Shouldn't you be servicing the Infringement Bureau's internal needs and not managing any customers? Are we all just customers? Must be, we pay fucking a lot. Anyway, and of course, as I'm reading this, you're going to see it up on the screen next to me there, and what I'm also going to do is show you this little, what does it say here, safe speed camera deployment page from Aislinn that sent me. So, of course, we won't find out this information unless you fucking ask. And it's the old adage, if you don't ask, you don't fucking know. Alright? So all of those 178 people, they were sitting there going, hey, hang on, you know, we weren't given adequate time enough to slow down. Well, tough shit. Because now, if you're reducing speed from 80 to 50k an hour, coming into from Muriwai Beach to the Waimaku Township, you don't get what is considered a safe and normal time to slow down from the point of that reduction sign. You don't get 250 metres, you don't even get 200. No, because they've got those dinky little dickhead, pointless fucking warning signs in the 80k area, 200 metres into the 80k area, saying, look out, you've got a slow down coming up, which, like me, who's lived in the area for 30 years, and every other Tom, Dick and Harry around the area already fucking knows that's where you're supposed to slow down before School Road. Well, now they've got those warning signs up there, so they can just chop your legs off more. I'd love to actually, dare I say this, I'd love to actually see a nose-to-tail accident happen because a speed camera van's parked so fucking far up people's ass, it restricts people a chance to slow down comfortably and fucking safely. And now because of those stupid signs, the warning signs, then their police policy says, no, you don't get 250 metres safety sort of space to slow down when you're coming into the township. No, you've got 100 fucking metres. So if you go past a van that's only 190 metres from the slow down sign, he's doing 90 metres over what he can. And you better fucking slow down quick. So there's going to be nose to tail accidents because people aren't going to be keep paying out this revenue. They're going to learn about your dirty little tricks. None of this is for safety. It is solely revenue collection. If they were worried about safety, they would increase the speed distance and allowance for people to slow down. Although, to me, 250 is perfectly fine. If they were worried about safety, their speed detection vehicles would be marked because that would make people slow down. I can drive along a normal road and flash my headlights at people. You know what that does? It makes people slow down. There are lots of ways of making people slow down without it fucking costing an arm and a leg to the fucking person. But no, it's for your safety because they have the public's trust and confidence that they're doing everything for the right reasons. There's, what, $1.2 billion since 98 worth of revenue they've collected from speeders on the roads. Has that slowed people down any? No, but it's certainly got you restricted and controlled more because there's a lot more speed camera out there, fixed ones and whatnot. You know? This fucking disgusts me, eh? Right, speed camera vehicle must be deployed in the following manner, and this is the police policy. Let's read it out together. Traffic camera operator safety is primary deployment consideration, including vehicles crashing into the TCO or stationary camera vehicle. The TCO, temporary camera officer, I don't know, or tosspot cunting orifice. Perhaps that's what TCO stands for. It doesn't say. Must A. Deploy the camera equipment at an approved site. Okay. B. Comply with all national and district directives. C. Consider the risks and risk control methods needed prior to deployment at any site, including risks during camera setup activities. If risks cannot be managed to an acceptable level, deployment at that site must not occur or continue. Okay, so if risks cannot be managed to an acceptable level, define acceptable level, New Zealand Police. D. Check there are clear police radio communications from the deployment site. E. Be seated in a front seat of the vehicle with the seatbelt fastened throughout the entire deployment. Once the camera has been aligned, unless the vehicle is parked entirely behind a road safety barrier. Okay, so in other words, these speed camera operators in their vans must be seated in their seats in the front with their seatbelts on. I don't recall seeing any I'm trying to think of a right word for it, but I'm just going to call them orifices or orifices. I don't recall seeing any orifices in their front seats with their seatbelts on while it's operating. But apparently, according to subsection E here of their own policy, they must be, because people have been crashing into the vans. Wonder fucking why. The Japanese had it right. They called it harikari. Well, sorry, they called it kamikaze. Excuse the terminology. Got that wrong. F. Deploy for no longer than 3 hours at any site. G. Well, of course, they're going to stop for smoke and fuck off, aren't they? Why would they want to be anywhere for more than 3 hours? F. Deploy no longer, sorry. G. Take proper comfort and meal breaks. Oh, worry about them not getting the right meals. H. Stretch and walk about on a regular basis. These are police policies for speed camera deployment. It sounds like they need to say, use 3-ply paper when wiping your ass. 2. A speed camera vehicle must A. Be parked legally. B. When parked during hours of darkness, have its park lights on or be illuminated by artificial light, i.e. street lights. C. Be visible to traffic. It may not be hidden. See that word may slipped in there? Not must not be hidden. It may not be hidden, which means it may not be hidden or it may be hidden. Doesn't it? D. Be parked on a straight section of road with adequate reference points for aligning the safe speed camera. Why throw the word safe in there? There's nothing safe about a speed camera. It's a mechanical device. How does it create safety? It creates, wealth disparity. It creates family violence because of tickets getting paid for. It creates lots of upset, but I don't see it making anybody safe. If they're worried about people being safe while they're taking their walks and their stretches, they could stand at the back of their van and go, slow down. But even that's going to fucking affect the income, isn't it? The revenue. Sorry to sound so fucking bitchy. Like I say, it's been a rough week. F. Not be positioned within 200 metres of any point where the posted speed limit reduces, or within 100 metres if advanced advisory signs are in place warning motorists of the approaching speed limit reduction. This requirement does not apply in a school zone. Well, that's interesting, because Waimaku's got a school down there, and do you think we can find any sort of defining boundaries where that school zone starts and finishes? Might have to take a wander into that fucking road safety place over on in Orewa there at their road policing area and ask them, how do I define a school zone? If they have to operate within school, or things don't apply within school zones for them, they must know where they are, surely. So we'll just ask them. I'll make a point of it. Perhaps when I get back up from down south. G. Not be positioned within 250 metres of the end of a passing lane or slow vehicle lane. This requirement does not apply again in the school zone. H. Have the tailgate closed on the camera alignment. What? Have the tailgate closed once the camera alignment has been completed. So they've got to close their tailgate. They can't leave their back boot open in their vans. I would have thought that's common sense, but again. 3. When a speed camera is deployed in a school zone speed camera site, it must be operated only between the hours of 7:30 AM and 6 PM on a school day, or at any other time a school activity occurs, including sports activities held on school grounds. Sports days, ag days as we have here, which is on a Saturday. So if they're having an ag day, school zone applies. Not that we know what that school zone area is. 4. A speed camera vehicle may park on private land if the occupier of the land gives clear permission for such use. Yeah, go ahead. love to see those private people that are allowing their land to be parked on for revenue collection. I'd love to see the general public sharing their views to those private individuals. 5, when a mobile speed camera, get rid of that fucking word safe because it's got nothing to do with safety, is operational at a site, a second camera must not be deployed in the same site or an adjoining site. So they can't be back to back. 6, a mobile speed camera must not be deployed on the same road as an operating static safe speed camera unless the two locations on that road have different speed limits, or the cameras are a minimum of 1 kilometre apart on any road with a posted speed limit of less than 70 km an hour, or the cameras are a minimum of 2 kilometres apart on any road with a posted speed limit of 60 kilometres or above. Less than 70, 1 kilometre apart from each other. More than 70, got to be 2 km apart from each other. Note, same road includes the continuation of any section of road regardless of any change in name of that road. Oh, well, gee, that's good to know. They're being fair there at least, eh? So, even though Aislinn wants to turn around and tell me that they're all still valid, sounds like the only way to hold them to task on this is, in regards to this particular matter with the 178 tickets, is for one of those 178 people to challenge it. And then, if the police actually followed the Criminal Disclosure Act 2008 and under section 12 and 13 provide you with initial and full disclosure including the deployment register. So follow me through here, okay? You challenge one of those tickets, you get the deployment register, like the one on the 17th of January, where the operator or orificer, where the operator has clearly ticked more than 250 metres away from a speed reduction sign, even though in this one's case he wasn't, he was 190 metres away. So even though, because what will happen is they will supply you that under disclosure, you then go into court. While the camera operator is testifying on the stand, evidence is then being entered. What they've supplied you before the hearing, nothing matters before the hearing, okay? Once the hearing happens and people start testifying, that's when perjury can happen. A statement beforehand is just a statement. It's only once they testify on the stand and they continue to lie, like Zeng Zhang, ZZJW96, like that lying little piece of shit on the stand that wants to lie and state that cables weren't connected on the stand when I can prove that they were. Even when they want to lie about that, and I've got my appeal 23rd of April at Waitakere for my appeal regarding that one. Monique, if you're watching, if you've got free time on the 23rd, next Wednesday, I'll see you then. Anyone else, welcome to come along. I'm not too sure what the hearing is about in regards to my appeal, because it's not an appeal hearing, it's just you've got to be in front of the judge 11:45 on the 23rd at Waitakere District Court. So I'm going back to the same piece of shit courthouse where they fucked up the first time, but because it was JP's, my appeal now goes before a judge at the same piece of shit district court. And then my second court of appeal would be in the High Court, where justice might actually fucking happen. But I don't expect it. That's even if they allow the appeal through. Alright? And I've given them about 5 different grounds for the appeal. We'll see how that works. Anyway. So even though the operator has, or the Police Infringement Bureau, this is if you take it to task and say not guilty and go through the court process, that prick is now up on the stand testifying, and then he produces, as an exhibit, he produces that deployment register. Now, we all know that deployment register was clearly, or we know that camera was clearly not more than 250 metres away from a change of speed sign, right? We know that. Regardless of the police policy saying, well, they can park only 100 metres away from the reduction sign because there's warning signs further up the road, we can get away with that. We can charge more people. We can sting more people their hard-earned money for doing nothing fucking wrong. Even though all that's happened, that lying piece of shit on the stand testifying is supplying a document which he knows is misleading and false. So, as far as Aisling is considered, my thing's frivolous. Just because your police policy says he can be 100 metres away, and as he was 190, all's fine in the world, he still signed and put a tick in a fucking document saying that he was more than 250 metres away. He's still misleading and misrepresenting the facts. Irrespective of what your policy says, he's saying he was more than 250 metres away, which is a lie. Even if your policy gets him off the hook, he's still ticking and supplying a document that is false, misleading, and blatantly, well, dare I say, vexatious or frivolous. And he's posing that to be truthful. Anyone else makes a statement knowing it's going to be used in the court proceedings and it's, against the law and it's an offence to make misleading or misrepresenting arguments or statements, the police will just let them off it. So that's where you, under cross-examination, with the wankers that have just produced to the court as an exhibit a false or misleading document where they've ticked they were 250 metres away from a reduction sign, even though they may have only been 100, and their policy says it okay, that policy doesn't then get transferred into the fucking courtroom. Because you've simply got to prove and show there's the reduction sign, there's where he was parked, 190, not 250. So was that a false or was that a true tick you put on that form? Oh, well, the new forms need to be up. Well, then update them. Don't issue any tickets until you actually get the forms that state accurate information on them. Otherwise, all of your fucking operators are lying their fucking asses off if they're parked less than 250 metres away and still putting a tick in just because your policy says so. That's where I want to leave it. I'm going to incorporate, obviously, the videos that so you can see the warning signs that I'm talking about. See these two little signs here? There's 50k and 200 metres signs. Okay. What that basically means is because those signs are there, that means that they don't have to be 250 metres from the Waimaku sign we've just gone past, the 50k area, that they can be anywhere from 100 metres from that sign onwards. There you go, guys. That's the update. If you have these dinky little warning signs in the faster areas approaching a slower area, then that means they don't give a fuck. We can park just 100 metres away from that reduction sign, so you better slam your fucking brakes on when you hit that slower area, because we can dish out fucking tickets if you don't. So that's going to encourage safe practice, isn't it? It just goes to show the hypocrisy of it. And that lying bitch on the stand, Constable Zang Zang, are you listening? That lying little bitch on the stand has the gall to dish out people tickets in temporary 60k areas because they received complaints from the workmen. Didn't see that being produced as evidence. And yet she can do well over 100k an hour chasing the poor bastard doing 60 in that same 60k area. Is that safe and effective policing? Was there exigent circumstances that you had to do that speed in that temporary 60k area? I don't think so. You know? Anyway, much love to you all, guys. Sorry I can't give you a bit more information. But don't say I didn't warn you all. And this isn't the end of this saga. Like I say, I've got some questions to go and ask them directly. Let's see if they like me walking in with my vest with some questions. Much love to you. Take care. I hope you're all having a great Easter. It is Easter Saturday. Yeah, and it's a fucking nightmare out there on the roads today. Much love. See yous.